The following program contains views that are not those of WVTC, iNetworks Communications, their subsidiaries, affiliates, or financial supporters.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Christians and friends. We thank and praise God for this, another glorious privilege to come into your homes while you're riding along in your automobiles, your various places of business, every institution, even the boys and girls behind prison walls, to bring you Ramon Perry and According to Your Faith, the Gospel Show, emanating live and direct through the studios of Stellar Award-winning WVTC, where we are literally winning victory through Christ, even as we speak. And we trust and pray that this time with Jesus would give you strength to go forward in faith. God bless you, beloved. I am excited about tonight. Tonight is a great night here at WVTC. I've got some phenomenal guests with me tonight, and I don't want to take any time getting in here. I know that I had my little brother, Eric Maurice Clark, is in town. He said he was going to pop in on us, but maybe he'll come a little bit later. But for now, I want to bring in Malcom Simmons. Y'all, everybody in Chicago and abroad knows Malcom. He's not a stranger here at WVTC. I had him some years ago. And come on, say hello to everybody, Malcom.
Hey, what's up, man? Well, I just want to thank God for this opportunity, and Dr. Perry, I want to thank you for this opportunity. I don't take it for granted. Any platform, big or small, that God allowed me to be on.
Look at God. Ain't that something? Malcom, how's everything going with your family?
Everything is well. Hope the same with you.
Yeah, everything is wonderful. I'm blessed. I'm blessed in Jesus' name. Malcom, what's been going on with you? Tell me something. What's been happening with you musically? You've been doing some writing. I mean, I had one of your artists on just last week, Pastor Phyllis Arnold, and that song you wrote for her was absolutely phenomenal. And let's talk about that, man. What's going on? The writer's pen is off the chain here.
One of my goals and one of the things on my bucket list is to be a writer, producer, and on the side be an artist. But I really don't want to be an artist. I really want to help others. So I've been doing a lot of writing. I've been doing a lot of work with just local artists or whatever like that. You got to start somewhere. And Pastor Phyllis Arnold was one of the ones. I play at her church every week. And long story short, I was like, I'm going to write you a song. She didn't believe it. And then I wrote it. And now we here. So I just love writing. My voice memo was full of songs, just flows and verses and everything like that. So.
And how long have you been writing? When did you start?
I've been writing since I was 15, 16, but really got serious with it like at 18, 19, 20.
Okay.
My first single was at 18 years old.
And you play as well, am I correct?
Just a little bit, just to hang.
You play enough to get what you want,
so
you can get it to somebody else who can make it happen. That's right. That's right. I know some people that do that, and they are doing quite well.
Yes,
amen. Sir. And you are a resident of the city of Chicago or the adjoining area, am I correct?
Absolutely.
What's your church affiliation?
I'm with New Zion Temple, Bishop Brandon Jacobs in Hammond, Indiana. So y'all know, trust me, y'all know him.
It's over. It ain't nothing to talk about at 7 o'clock on a Sunday morning. We don't need to even have that conversation. Just turn on the phone and get you some shouting room because it's about to be all right.
I think all of our past at 7:45 on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll be brushing my teeth and have it right there.
Right.
Everything all over the place, shouting and dancing with your worship.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. So tell us about let's start with I Win.
Hmm.
What was the catalyst for writing that song?
The crazy thing about that, that's my favorite song right now. That's out of mine because God gave me that for the pandemic. The
Mm-hmm.
pandemic happened. They closed us down, and I said, God, I wanna get something out while we all at home. While the streams gonna go up because there ain't nobody out in the world. They ain't got no choice but to listen to it. But I said I need something encouraging, and then God gave me I Win. In spite of this COVID-19, we still gonna come out winning. And I can say whether you had COVID or you didn't, we came out with the victory. We won.
Let's see if we can play a little of it. I don't want to play all of it because I want everybody to go
Absolutely.
and download it. If we can get I Win by Malcolm Simmons
Yes,
and get
sir.
that cranked up, I want everybody to hear just a little touch of that and be blessed by this song of victory.
Yes.
There was a time in my life I felt defeated. Then God spoke to me and said, "You will always win, son, with me on your side." When he died on Calvary to save a lost soul like me, you did it all so I can see I always win. Serenity, help me.
It wasn't that long ago when you came and healed my soul. It's my job to let the whole world know that you
You are the champion.
are the champion.
Your record is flawless, yo.
Record is flawless, you always win.
So I'm confident that I always win. Let's say.
With you there is no failure.
That was nice. I like your approach coming out the gate. How do you pick your background singers?
I'm big on that. I may sound a mess on my leads and my ad libs, but that music and them BGVs got to be right. I was blessed. I'm blessed to have friends, singers and friends. So each and every one of my singers are friends. I'm talking about they know my family. They come to the house. We had game night. We go out to eat. We celebrate each other's birthday. So give me a 3-piece spicy, and I stack about 4-5 times, and we move it. Let's go.
Absolutely. Background vocals is everything. So how do you pick your intros? Your intro says, I need to listen to this. As soon as I start hearing it, I already know if I want to listen. God bless you, Barbara Bacon. God bless you, Roosevelt Hamilton out there behind the scenes. I appreciate you. How does that work out with your intro?
So I got to shout out my boy. And this is the thing that I had learned doing this music thing. Because shout out, a lot of people don't know, Ricky Dillard is my real blood uncle. But that's another story for another time. That's my blood uncle, and so it's in the blood. But I had to figure out that what I was good at and
Okay.
what I wasn't.
Right.
So I don't feel like I was that good at the playing part. So I
Mhm.
connected with my brother Arion Tucker. He's no stranger to the city of Chicago. And when I tell you, when we get together, I say, "Hey, Tuck, I want a big intro, I want a small intro, but for this one, I say, give me something calm, but that feels good." And Arion took that thing and ran with it. Shout out to Arion Tucker.
Oh yeah, he is one of the best in the business.
Yes.
And there's how do you get your lyrics? I mean, what I know what inspired. Now look who just chimed in. She said,
Hey,
"My producer." That song you wrote for her. Where did that come from? That came from you wasn't just on the train. I don't believe. I don't. It seemed like you was sitting on the porch and heaven just downloaded that song into your spirit.
right. What happened with that song was, and I'm a spiritual guy. I'm real big on the spiritual side. What happened, I believe that God connected us, had us learn each other, and I began
Mm-hmm.
to get her heart. I got her
There you
heart
go. There you
because
go.
I didn't want to write Malcolm Simmons on Phyllis Arnold. I
Got it.
wanted to
Got it.
write Phyllis Arnold like she wrote it.
There you
So I
go.
know she had a story, and it was glory behind it. So that's where that came from. Me and her made a connection, and I wanted it to sound like she wrote it. I didn't want it to sound like Malcolm wrote it.
There you go.
Yes,
Now
sir.
we have another song called God is Great. Tell us about that.
That's my latest song. I did that earlier this year. They got a big intro. I like big intros. I'm a real big fan of James Fortune. So I told Ariane, let's go with this one. But this song was written back in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically just saying God is great. God has been faithful. And I just wanted to give him glory in this one. So
Let's go and hear a little bit of that. And then we're
Yes,
going to
sir.
talk about how we can secure your music.
yes, sir.
God.
Yeah. Y'all know I like to do it. Do it real big for my God. Let's go. Woo! Y'all crazy for this. One question. We just stopped by to tell you that God, our God, is great. Here we go. You say, God is great and greatly to be praised.
God is great and greatly to be
That's right. Oh, God is great and greatly to be praised. He's the greatest man I know, and he's faithful. My God is faithful, and faithful is his name. Yeah, that's right. Oh, no. Say it again. My God is faithful, and faithful is his name. Oh, Lord, yeah. There is none. Yeah. There is none. I searched all over, and I still can't find. I still. Nobody. Let's go. From the top, everybody say. Now I brought my brother in to help us say that God is great. You know he great. Isaiah, help me say. You say, God is great and
See, now that's Sunday morning right there. That's the praise team I want to hear on Sunday morning right there.
Right.
That's what I want to open up with right there.
Yes, sir.
Now, how can we secure your music for those that are listening?
I'm on all digital outlets. It still blows my mind that you could type on YouTube, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, Malcom Simmons music, and all my songs gonna pop up. I'm on song number 13, but it's like 7 that's live. I took a few off because I want to redo them. But type in Malcom Simmons music, and it's gonna pop right up.
Wow. Isn't that something? Okay. Listen, I'm so glad you came, Malcolm. Will you come
Yes,
back
sir.
again? And when I get ready to do something, I need you to write something for me.
Let's go. I got quiet music and this stuff. It'll be an honor. You one of the legends out here. We know
Oh
you is.
no, I don't know about that part. I'm just in the numbers. I'm
I
glad to be
appreciate
on
it,
top.
man.
Listen, I
appreciate
want
the
everybody in Chicago. Let's support my little brother Malcom Simmons. He has some great worship music. He's got music for soloists. You need to go and find his music. Look for God is Great and I Win. He just mentioned this on all digital outlets. Chicago, stand up
Yes,
and
sir.
let's get on board. And don't just listen to it. I need you to download it. Let's be a
Yes,
blessing
sir.
to the creator and the author and the composer that stands before us. God bless you, Malcolm. Come back and visit
Bless
us.
you.
God bless you.
Anytime.
Got
Anytime.
you. Listen, you heard that right here with Ramon Perry and WVTC Radio, Internet Radio, Stellar Award winning. Listen, I got a quick surprise guest. My little brother is in town. I want him, if we can get him in here real quick. I want him to come and say hello. He doesn't get to Chicago much. He's normally passing through the area. Is that brother Eric Maurice Clark right there?
What's up? Yes. How you doing?
God bless you, Eric. Glad to have you back home in the city of Chicago. I know you're on a mission. You are out there on the road making it happen. Say hello to everybody.
Man, hello everyone, and thank you, Dr. Perry, for allowing me this opportunity, and thank you for all that you do for the body of Christ. I mean, all that you do is relevant, and we appreciate your word.
Well, I'm thanking God, man. It's a privilege, and each one reach one, and we help each other. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely.
Listen, I don't know if we can get your commercial up. Let's go ahead and God bless you, Bishop Reese. Bishop Al Reese, you can catch him in the morning. God bless you. can we get brother Maurice Clark? I want to get his commercial up if we got it because we play it every week.
What's up, everybody? I'm so excited. Same magazine, but we have renamed it and is rebranded. It's entitled The Gospel Music Gazette. It's a journey and a journal of a lifetime. Gospel music history at its best. Get your copy of our first edition. Enjoy.
Now, how can we secure that again, brother Maurice?
Yes, just go to ericmauriceclark.com and you'll be able to get any edition of the magazine there. Thank you so much for playing that.
We play it every week.
I know, and thank you.
We normally do it halfway through the show, but since you were here early on, I wanted to get that in. Listen, I want everybody to support my brother, Eric Maurice Clark. He is all over the place. He is interviewing all of the legends, all of the current gospel artists. He is doing great work in the kingdom, and I definitely want to commend him. God bless you, Eric. Thank you for sharing with us, and you're going to come back again when you get to Chicago. You got to come through, okay?
Oh, absolutely. Love you, man.
All right, love you too. Listen, beloved, I need everybody to go on and like and share right now. I am going to Washington, D.C. I am going all the way over to the East Coast. I've got a young man that is Holy Ghost filled and on fire for the Lord, and he is just on fire. I've got Carnel Davis Jr. from Washington, D.C. I want him to come on up to the front. God bless you. He was with me earlier before we came on. Say hello to everybody.
What's going on, everybody?
God bless you, Carnel. I'm honored and privileged to have you here with me for the first time on WVTC. Tell us a little bit about yourself as a first-time guest with me.
Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to come on and be on your glorious show on today. I just count it an honor and a privilege to be amongst royalty, and I praise God for it. But just a little bit about me. Southern dude, originally from Birmingham, Alabama, by way of Houston, Texas, and now I'm living on the East Coast side. Down to earth cat, not too much about me. Do sing with Ricky Dilla. Been here with him for the last 17 years. Wow. And I have my own choir, which we've been together 18 years. And so, that's just about me. And I'm getting ready to go back to school this semester. So I'm excited. A lot of great things happen for me.
Now, see, that was a quick version. So we got to go back and unpack all that. We got to start somewhere. We got to go back to the beginning. And what city are you from?
Okay. Birmingham.
Okay. So when did you recognize your music intuition? When did it click that I want to be a choir director? I want to be involved. What happened? What was going on?
Well, both of my parents are musically inclined. My mother is a singer and my dad is the minister of music. So all of that directing and teaching, I saw that firsthand. And so with my dad doing that, of course, I wanted to do it. So that's kind of how that started, singing at a very, very young age. So that's how I got really started, came out the womb basically in music.
So let me ask you, what was your first passion, singing or directing?
Singing.
Singing? Okay.
Singing.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't start directing until I was 14.
Okay.
Yeah,
14.
But yeah, I've been singing since I was a kid in the children's choir.
Okay. So I got to ask this question. So I ask all the directors, did you start off in the mirror?
No, I didn't start in the mirror. I started out sneaking into some of my dad's choir robes. That's how I started. And he used to always get on me because I wouldn't hang them back up, or he could tell I've been in them, and and that's how I started. So it wasn't a mirror for me. It was sneaking into my dad's closet and getting his choir robes. That's how it started for me. And then I had stuffed animals and stuff, so they was like my choir and stuff like that. At home. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So we all had that other choir that we started with. Oh, yes. Man. So it's not just me. God bless you, Bishop Arnold. God bless you for sharing with me tonight. Listen, I know what you mean. I had pop bottles and everything. The altos was over here, and I can't. If I took a picture of my choir, I can't find it, but it was cosmetic. I had lipstick tubes and I had kitchen cleanser. The comet was in the middle. The tenors was the tallest.
Everybody was a choir.
Everybody
You was gonna be in this choir, whether you wanted to or not. You was gonna be in this choir.
absolutely. And you know what? They was always on time, and they never missed a rehearsal.
No.
I had the best
what
with you.
you saying.
Okay,
right.
so let's go on to what inspired you to start your own ministry.
Well, I got my start in. I got my start singing with Ron Summers. He's in Baltimore, but at the time he was living in Houston. And he started a community choir in Houston, and that's how I got started in the industry. And then too, working with my church choir, really developing my gift. I minister music was very, very open to new directors coming in or young directors coming in and training and getting all that done. And so I became the youth minister music at my church. And usually every year for Memorial Day, we would have a Memorial Day concert, and we would invite a special guest to come every year. Well, this particular year, I forgot to do that because there was so much stuff going on that I forgot to invite a guest artist. So I said, well, let me put some singers together, and then we'll just be the special guest for that concert, not knowing that here we are 18 years later, still together. So it's not something that I set out to do, I inspired to do. It's just something that just happened.
Okay, so who were some of your musical influences at a young age, right around the time you started your ministry?
At a young age, or when I got ready to start the choir?
When you got ready to start your ministry?
Well, of course, Walter Hawkins and Love Center is my diehard favorite. Anything that Walter wrote, I love it and I know it. Him and Edwin. So I had that, and then I had, of course, the Tommies, and then, of course, Ricky Dillard and James Hall and Orlando Draper. So all of those mixed into one. You got me.
I get it. And I would have to go to say, I don't know how old you are, but we probably around the same somewhere, maybe.
Okay.
You know what? I'm not gonna do it with you because I can't.
You want to do it? I can say how old I am. You want to do this tonight?
Go ahead with it. How old are you?
I'm 40.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, let's just say that we have some of the same musical influences. Nah, thank God. I'm proud. I'm a proud.
Yeah, that's how we get when we get together. We clown real bad, y'all.
I know. I already know. Listen, some of your choir brothers are in here. One of former New G member, Minister Leonard Appleton here in Chicago. He's in here. God bless you. And I know you know my brother, my nephew, Eric Gates.
That's my brother. That's your nephew.
That's my nephew. I remember when he was in Pampers.
What did you say then?
Absolutely. Me and his mother stood side by side and sang together. He comes from good stock. His mama's a singer and a choir director. Let the real truth be told.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell it.
Y'all favor. Now I put it all together. Yeah.
And his auntie and his grandmother. They were all. He come from a family of singers, so he got it honest. And Ray Treese, we all come out the same home church. Tawanda, we all come out the same home church. So when I see them singing with New G, I said, just keep it going, keep it going. But so back to you. Those were some of your musical influences. So right now, let's talk about your ministry. I want to talk about this. One of the first songs that I listened to that you sent, and it's called Lily of the Valley. What inspired that song?
Lily of the Valley was one of the first songs that I ever wrote. And I've been sitting on it for maybe about 25 years. And
really?
Yeah, and what inspired me, God started really putting songs in my heart, and then he would give me the melody, and then I would come up with the concept. And I knew that it was going to be churchy, but I really couldn't grab the concept. And so you're going to laugh at this part. I am a Muppets fanatic. Anything Muppets, Fraggle Rock, Sesame Street, I'm all in it. And so I was watching the Muppet Caper one day, and this song came on the movie Happiness Hotel. And so that's what gave me the inspiration as far as the music, with it being so technical like that. I really thought about the Muppets when I first started putting that song together.
Well, let's go ahead and play a little of that. I want to hear a little bit of Lily of the Valley. Go ahead and introduce it, who wrote it, who's singing it, and we'll go ahead and play a little of it tonight for our audience.
Okay, Lily of the Valley, that's my newest single, written by yours truly, written by myself and a friend of mine from Houston, Chad Stevenson. And on lead is one of the singers here in DC, Tawanda Reinhardt. She's leading it. So I hope you guys enjoy it. It's Lily of the Valley.
The Lord of Lords. He walks with me. Yeah. He is. Yes, he is. He's in the sun. Come on, Paul, say it one more time. He is. Yes, sir. He is.
Listen. I was like, they are just going somewhere with this. And listen, you all have to go and get that song. You have to go and get it, because I wanted to know where it was going musically, and he's going to get you someplace and you're going to get stuck and you ain't going to be able to get out of there. Everybody, how can we secure that song, Carnel?
It's on available on all digital platforms: Amazon Music, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify. It's YouTube is all on there. You just search Carnel Davis, and my name is spelled with one L, Carnel Davis, and Incorporated the Praise, and you'll find all of our singles: Great God, Make Me Better, and Lily of the Valley.
Now we're gonna play Make Me Better in a minute, but I wanna mess with you just a little bit. What are some of the changes that you have seen in choral music, choir music, in the last 15 years? What are some of the changes that you have seen and how it has progressed?
You're really trying to make me go there, ain't you? I feel, as it relates to choir music, when the praise and worship, and I don't want to go into calling different artists names and stuff like that. I won't do that. I will not do that tonight. But however, when the praise and worship started being introduced to the choir, it kind of took over, and we lost. It started changing to where it became sounding very light. There was no depth. There was no lyric depth. There was no music depth. Everything was here, and I'm saying that generally, as it relates to Black choir music, we kind of sort of lost our color. And that's even with music as a whole as it is now. You know, we've kind of pushed away some of the soul in gospel music, trying to tap into the whole CCM. But I feel that choir music is wrapping around again, because you cannot have church and completely forget about the choir. Because even if you don't have a choir, you find some of our praise teams reaching for choir music. They may be singing it as a praise team, but you're still reaching to choir music. So choir music, in my opinion, has never died, will never die. You can try to push the choir out, but it's slowly coming back, because that's what we need. So that's kind of how I feel that, things have changed in the last 15 years or so.
Okay. Let me put something with that. Listen, those of you all that enjoyed that song, I want you to put something in the comments. Lily of the Valley. I want you all to go and get that, especially your choir directors, and those. Can you share it on your page? It might view it a little later. I have somewhat of I'm going to say an addendum to that. I'm not going to say what you're saying is not true, but I'm going to add to that. I think that we've been singing praise and worship music all along. And the shift in some of the music in the industry has made a difference in the church. Because when I think about Hallelujah Anyhow by the Whitfield Company, that was a worship song. Dear Jesus, that was choral worship at its finest. Even before we got to total praise, all of that, we've always had praise and worship music in choral form. But when the music changed in the industry, then that was the catalyst for the change that came in the church. But we've been singing praise. Oh Lord, how excellent!
Oh yeah,
that's a worship song.
Yeah,
I've been saying this for some...
Yeah, but to that point, there was color. You can tell the difference in black praise and worship versus white praise and worship. There is a difference. And I was having this discussion with somebody last week. There's a difference when you come with hallelujah, you're worthy to be praised. That's black soul praise and worship, because of course that's Judah McAllister. She really introduced praise and worship to the black church. So that's kind of what I meant. I should have been a little bit more specific. There's a difference in black praise and worship and in white praise and worship.
And the shift in the sound that we have taken, which works. I mean, we've got some new choirs out here that are really killing and doing a great job. But I always try to remind, even though it might slip, that we might, we have been doing this all along. We just didn't call it praise and worship. We didn't call it that until the last 15, 20 years, but we were doing it. I'm going to tell you who else was doing it. When we stood and our devotional leader said, I need thee, that was worship, because that's not how you're going to pay your rent. That's not, I got a problem. That's just you, Lord. I need you.
Vertical.
You know what? It was one-on-one.
Worship.
And we've always had it in our church, but through evolution of music, then we've got the other changes. Let's talk about this other song, which kind of threw me a little bit, Make Me Better. Let's talk about that. You wrote that?
No, I didn't write that. A friend of mine from Brooklyn, New York, Brother Demetrius Griffin, wrote that song. And most people, when they see the title, their mind automatically goes to Cosmo. But so no, it's not a remake. This is an original tune.
No, that's not why it threw me. It threw me not because of that. It threw me because I was listening to hear Make Me Better in the lyrics up front, and I didn't hear it. That's what I'm talking about. Let me acknowledge the presence of First Lady Darlene Roberts. I'm going to tell you, she's a legend. If you remember this song, if you just allow me one more time, I love Jesus more today. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
She's on here, and I just want to acknowledge her. She is a gem. She is a legend here in the city of Chicago. Listen, I want to play Make Me Better. Let's introduce that song, and I want everybody to hear it.
Okay, this song is like a song titled "Make Me Better," written by Brother Demetrius Griffin from Brooklyn, New York. Yours truly on lead. Also, Chicago's own Larry Jones is on lead as well. And it's a nice groove song for you. Something for you to groove on going down Lakeshore Drive.
Let's go get it.
Come on, all the young people on your feet, put your hands together. Come on, put your hands together. Come on.
See, you and I think alike. That is the groove down Lakeshore Drive. And I know you've been down Lakeshore Drive. I like that song. I liked it when I first heard it. I like it coming out the gate. I like that energy, and you all just really bring it. And you have your own unique flavor. And I like that.
I appreciate that.
Listen, I want everybody to go ahead. This is a good choir song. This is a good groove song for your Sunday morning, or you can do it at your musical. I want everybody to go and support Carnel Davis and incorporate it to praise. God bless you, Teresa Acton, down there in Kentucky. You know I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. And so many people I see out there. I see the names that are just coming before me. Listen, if you can, I don't know what your night is like. If you can come back in just a little bit, I want to have a little discussion with you and Michael Weatherspoon and meeting of the minds about a couple of issues, and we're going to talk about it. Can you do that?
Okay.
You can do that? Okay, listen, you heard it right here with Ramon Perry. Carnel is going to come back in just a little bit, and we're going to bring Michael on, and he is literally a giant in the kingdom, and we're going to talk about some things just a little bit. And I appreciate you. Listen, I want everybody that has not liked and shared this live to go ahead and do so as we bring on Michael Weatherspoon. He is literally a giant in the kingdom. And I've been trying to get him, and I am glad we were able to secure him on tonight. Let's see if we can get him up to the camera.
Got a sweet tooth for some cheesecake? Look no further than Ella Lee's Treats. We are the leaders in cheesecake cuisine. Whether your favorite is banana pudding, caramel, peach cobbler, or red velvet, Ella Lee's Treats has the cheesecake to wow your next event. Get one for yourself or gift one to a loved one. All cheesecakes are available by pre-order, and we deliver. Soothe your sweet tooth with a cheesecake from Ella Lee's Treats. Order yours now at ellaleestreats.com. Email to ellaleestreats@gmail.com or call 779-206-5044.
We were coming with the word from our sponsor. I forgot we got to pay the bills.
Right.
But listen, everybody. I need you all. You all are going to get some information, and he's going to share some things with us that can really, really bless your life and your ministry. Everybody, welcome my friend and brother, Michael Weatherspoon. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be here tonight. And Ramon, you're doing an outstanding job. Congratulations to you and your team for winning the stellar. Well deserved.
Well, we give God the glory, and I'm glad about it, and I'm glad to be able to share this. I call it the sacred desk with you. Listen, tell us about yourself. You know what? I've read your bio, and you've done some things that I weren't completely aware of. If you guys would just allow me to just touch just a little bit on what he sent me. Michael Weatherspoon has been in the music industry for 30 years as a drummer. Let's start there. Producing. He's been a consultant and label executive, forming Spoon-Fed Productions with his brother Daniel Weatherspoon. 20 years ago has produced dozens of records for various gospel groups and inspirational artists around the world. I'm a witness to that. I think my first attempt at doing something, you guys had a hand in it many, many years ago. I'll never forget it. As well as having performed on over 100 albums. You all hear that? There's a catalog out here and DVDs during his career. Let me just skip down to him. He's also an author. Michael has written 2 books, The Cost of Indecision and Notes to the Leader, released in 2020. He has served as Minister of Music at Valley Kingdom Ministries International, All Nations Worship Assembly here in Chicago, and currently serves as the Creative Arts and Development Senior Director of Creative Arts and Development at New Life Covenant Southeast, and he is an ordained pastor under the leadership of Pastor John F. Hanna. What shall we say of these things? Let's go back and talk about when you got started as a drummer. What was your catalyst for getting even involved in musically back then, Michael? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, you know what? I'm a Kojic baby, man. Me and my brother, And so we grew up in Kojic Church. Both my parents are preachers. They didn't have their own church, but they were elders, and my mom's an evangelist. And, you know, we started off playing in church, Tuesday night service, Friday night service, Sunday all day. But my mom would take us when she would preach. And so me and my brother back in the early 80s, man, maybe even late 70s, would be the sermonic solo. We would be the instrument, you know, the solo before she would preach. And we knew one song and we played it. Daniel would be on the organ, I'd be on the drums, and my mom would be clapping, and we'd be playing. And then we would be her sermonic solo, and then she would preach, and we would travel around with my mom. And then we just got started in church. You know, we were faithful in church. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that's lost nowadays, where people no longer are faithful to their house, faithful to the church that they belong to. But man, we went to church. We loved being in church. And then God just breathed on us. Artists would come to True Holiness Church of God in Christ. We were under Janet Harris, the director. Even Ricky Dillard spent some time there. Mark Taylor, Larry Jones. And people would come and hear us. Gospel artists would come and hear us. And 14, 15 years old, man, I started getting calls to travel and do records. And my mom and dad allowed it to happen. And then my brother got on the road. And that's really how it started. But it started with us being faithful to church and my mom taking us out with her.
Okay, for those that might have heard that, this is for those in the back. He said he was faithful to his church. Did you guys hear that? Did y'all hear that? He was faithful to his church. That speaks volumes when you're faithful to your home church. Let's talk about when you got to inspired to do Spoon Fed production. Yeah. What happened? What was the catalyst that got you there? Because being a drummer is one thing. What led up to that? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that.
Well, me and my brother were playing with a lot of artists at the time. We were traveling, you know, in high school. I would get out of high school on Friday and head straight to the airport. I was rehearsing 2 and 3, 4 nights a week with artists, doing records, doing concerts. And I got with Ben Tankard, and I learned about the music industry. He was vice president of Tribute Records down in Nashville. Mm-hmm. They had Yolanda Adams and Daniel Winans and a few other people. And so I learned from him, traveling with him. And then my brother was an outstanding, he's the best musician in the world to me that I've played with, Daniel Weatherspoon. And all of you have been influenced by his music.
Whether they know it or not.
Whether they know it or not, your church is singing music that Daniel has produced or played on. Every church in America. And we decided we wanted to get into production. And we started helping independent artists. But our first break, Ramon, came, and people still talk about this record today, from a record label that gave us our first chance was Ty Scott Records and Mark Hubbard, and we did He's Up There. And that was the first record that broke us into the industry. Before that, we were doing unsigned independent artists. But when we did that record, then our name kind of went around the country as producers. And we decided in our parents' basement to name it Spoon Fed Productions. And Spoon Fed just a spin-off off our name. But then we would feed you music from the Spoon Brothers. And so that's how that name came, Spoon Fed.
So let me ask, for someone that doesn't understand, mm-hmm. What does it mean to have a production company and produce? What does that mean? I know, but someone that's listening.
Well, if you're going to have a production company, it ranges in a lot of areas. It's not just producing tracks and coming up with beats and chords and arrangements. You have to know artist relations. You have to know how to deal and talk and communicate with attorneys, record labels, have relationships with singers and musicians. You have to know how to handle budgets. You have to have relationships with companies that can marketing and advertising and publicists. It's not just putting music together in beats. When you do a production company, you have to be able to handle every aspect of the artist, even from development, because you may take on some artists that are not quite ready to do a record, but they need some type of development to bring them along. So it's more than just producing tracks and working in Pro Tools and recording vocal stems. You have to be able to run the gambit of being able to walk the artist through the entire process from concept to creation and bringing it to fruition.
That's a big piece right there, because producing is very comprehensive. And I wanted you to spell that out. And even with that, every producer may not delve into every area, but that could be part of what they do, depending upon how they run their production company. Am I correct?
Absolutely. And you have to have alliances. I mean, no one necessarily knows how to do everything. There were things that my brother did better than me. There were things that I did better than my brother. We brought those things together, and then through the relationships that we formed in the industry, then when there are things that we couldn't do, relationships are important, and maintaining them, because you're going to have to be able to reach out to people for things and negotiate and work out favors and deals, and those relationships go a long way. And so when you need to get indoors, need contacts, need communication, need someone to be an advocate for you, that's where those relationships come in. Relationships.
That is, don't burn any bridges.
Right. You're right, man. I mean, the industry has forgotten that. When I was coming up, we were taught to maintain your relationships. And that's something that we're losing today, I think, because everyone is, the market is oversaturated with talent. And so everyone is trying to get to the top. And so they will sell anybody out to get the access that they need.
I didn't want to say that, but that is so true. Because, okay, like when you guys first started, we had a plethora of talent, but now everybody is an artist. Everybody's an artist.
Yeah.
I gotta see, my CD is coming. And I'm not trying to discourage anyone or anything like that, but I am suggesting that, again, that the market is overloaded and everybody can't make top 10, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when I first started, when me and you first started, started off, we were in the analog age. I mean, this was pre-streaming, pre-CDs, still cassette tapes and LPs, and so the access to the market was different. You had to sign with a label. There were no capabilities to record in your home. I'm cutting tracks in the living room. Back then you had to go to a multi-million-dollar recording studio and pay $150, $200 an hour just to get your album done, on vacuum tube amps and mics, but now, because we've switched from analog to digital, it's created access. So everybody got what they wanted, Ramon. The artists got what they wanted. What they wanted was access. Now you got it. So now everybody, in essence, is their own record label. But now the issue is we don't have the business. So we have the talent. Some of us have a little bit of money, but because the market has given everybody access to it, and the money has changed, and in essence, your own record label, now it separates the wheat from the tare, basically. So the people that don't have persistence, the people that are not that don't have the financial backing at some point, the people that can't maintain relationships are not going to make it, Ramon, in this industry. I tell artists all the time, be authentic and have persistence. Be authentic to what you have. Don't create off the charts. If who you are is not in the Billboard Top 100, then don't be that. All right. Don't be who you are. There's an audience that wants to receive what you have. And second, be persistent. We run out of gas too quick, Ramon. Real quick. I share the story all the time. I ask people, how many albums do you think Vashawn Mitchell did before he broke through? Nobody Greater is the song that everybody loves and we sing all over the world. But people don't realize that he did 7 albums before that song came out. And that song that broke him through the ceiling, he didn't even write it. So what I'm saying is, what if he had given up on album number 5?
That's why I wanted you in here, because I wanted somebody to hear just what you're saying right now. That's listening, saying, why is it not working? Or I want to jump into this. I believe I have the talent. And you said something that was so crucial. Be your authentic self. God bless you, Anthony Williams, Sylvia Coleman, Maria. God bless you, Barbara. I certainly love you. Thank you, guys. Listen, you said be your authentic self, even if it's not part of what's on the charts. There is an audience for you. I'm just repeating everything you said because someone is saying, well, I gotta sing like Kim Burrell. I've got to sound like Ernest Pugh, or else then, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna tell you something. Wait a minute, who is Adele Weatherspoon?
She is a member. We were together at Valley Kingdom, and she's now at New Life with Pastor Hannah. She is a dynamic woman of God.
Are you related?
No, we're not related.
Okay, I was like, I want to acknowledge if I needed to do that. Listen, so someone told me years ago when I was getting ready to do my first single, if this is someone, they said this to me, if you don't sound like this and this and this, you're not going to get played. Mm-hmm. And that just was not the truth. Right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And what I will say, quality needs to match, but your authenticity on who you are musically and creatively, that needs to be authentic and organic, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You need, if your voice and your sound, you need to present who you are. There is an audience that is waiting to hear you. See, the problem is that we're all competing against the same pool of people, but there is a world out there that is not familiar with who you are. If you keep pushing, all it takes is one. All it takes is one person to walk into your concert. All it takes is one person to walk into that cafeteria. All it takes, that cafe, that club, that venue, wherever you ministering at. All it takes is one. But if you quit, if you assimilate yourself, and see, and also the originality is so important, Ramon, is because the market is oversaturated. The only people that are going to stand out is those people that are releasing a sound that is not common. And so you have to be able to present something that one either ministers to people or it is a sound that we have not heard.
Enter Maverick City. Let me keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk about this. When did you discover you had writing ability, and what was your inspiration to become an author?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a whole nother level of something else.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about that.
Well, I've always liked to write, Ramon. So I took creative writing classes in college, comparative literature, you know, when I was matriculating through college. And so I always liked to write. But then, you know, there's transitions. You know, I went from a drummer to a producer, and then to label exec, and then into leadership, music leadership. And so God dealt with me back in 2010 when I was offered the minister of music position. I was going to be announced January 2011. And God dealt with me and said, my people are put in position, but they have not been trained.
Mm-hmm.
So we have too many people leading music ministries and departments, and they haven't been trained. They've been put in position because of their gift. And so the people that they're over are dying and not being edified because they don't know anything about their job. So God began to put curriculum and teachings together. And so when I started, anybody that was new that wanted to be in the music ministry had to go through a 4-week class that I developed to train them on their assignment. And then those that were already in the music ministry had to take it in order to stay in it. And it developed and it prospered. And it, you know, people started asking me to do conferences and speak to their artists and come in and speak to their ministries. And then it turned into a book, which turned into Cost of Indecision. And so it's one of the reasons why our churches are failing, because there's too many indecisiveness. And so there's a cost to you being indecisive. There's a cost to you not being able to make a decision about what your path and assignment is. And what people don't really understand is when your music ministry is weak, your church is going to be weak. When your music ministry is strong, your church will be strong, because music is a draw. And then it also is a help to bring forth the word, the audible word with the melodic word of God. So just training people in that. I've always loved to write, man. And then it just came out. So that book is really doing very well. A lot of people around the country are using it at their churches. It's in 2 universities being used. And it's been going great. Then the second book I wrote during the pandemic. Okay, the Notes to a Leader. So I wrote that book, and it's 16 topics, Ramon, that help leaders, issues that leaders may have that we don't deal with. Here's what happens with leaders, Ramon. We're so busy pouring into people that we don't work on the issues that we have. We're so busy edifying people that we don't have time to deal with what's going on with us. So a lot of leaders are dealing with addiction, trauma, wounds, revenge, succession, guilt, shame. We don't deal with this stuff because we're so busy trying to get other folks over their issues that we don't deal with what's going on with us. So that book helps leaders address what you're dealing with.
Sounds like a book I need to read. How can we secure your publications, Michael?
Well, they're available, on Amazon and but if you want an autographed copy, you can go to michaelweatherspoon.com. It's no extra price. I'll send it. I'll sign it, put a note in there for you. michaelweatherspoon.com, and I send it out to you right away. But it's been doing really well, and I hope that something that I've said will help you and you'll purchase it.
Someone, Adele Weatherspoon, said it's a very good read. God bless you. I want to bring our brother back. If he's still there, I want Carnel Davis to come back in the room if he is available. I want to talk to you guys about some of the very things that you just mentioned as it relates to the church body, as it relates to ministry, because we're all involved in some way. You mentioned something and you made a statement, and I would like, God bless you, Carnel. Thank you for staying with me. I'm sure you were listening. You made a statement, and I need you to expound on that, and I want to hear what you have to say about it. If the music ministry is weak, the church is going to be weak. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that. I need you to explain that to somebody, because someone is saying, I'm sure someone is saying, I don't believe that, or that's not true in my church. Let's talk about what you meant.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. The music ministry really is an extension and should have relationships with every entity in the church. The intercessors, the ministers, the pastors, the leaders. We are the melodic word of God. So even before the audible word that is preached goes out, we release the word through singing, through playing, through dance, through interpretation. And so if we're not right, then nothing in the church can go correct. If the church is going to be off balance, the church is going to be also, because we are in control of that microphone. And so what's in us is released out. And so that's the other downside to it, Ramon. If there's issues with us internally, we release those spirits and we release that out into the mic, because we are responsible for the setting that atmosphere, setting that room. So and you have to understand too, Ramon, music is a draw. So music can get people to your church, but the word will get them to join. People join the church because they identify with the pastor, but music can get people in the room. So if music is not right, your church is not going to be operating at its optimum.
Absolutely. I wanted to I don't know, Carnel might have had some technical difficulties, because I wanted to hear what he had to say about that as it relates to how he operates in music ministry. And so there's another thing that you mentioned that I thought was very poignant about if we're not right as leaders, mm-hmm. how that affects the music ministry and how it can affect the church. Can you talk about that? Because a lot of times, just as you mentioned, one of the topics in your book, we're so busy pouring in, trying to make sure everything else is right, and we're dying on the inside. Mm-hmm. We have troubles too. We're so busy trying to be faithful to the church and to our ministries at large, and we tore up from the flow up. Let's talk about that.
Well, Ramon, it's very important that we're right before we get up to minister. One of the things that I do is make sure that before our teams minister, that we pray, and ask God to release anything from us, off of us, before we set place in that pulpit. We spend time in prayer, and not in one of these lullabies and mom and pop prayers that we just get through just to get to the stage because we running late. You really need to spend time preparing your spirit before you minister. Here's the reason why. The reason why is because you can transfer what's in you into the house. Have you ever walked into a church and you can sense dominant spirits that's there? You know why? It's because somebody that's one of those priests has that issue, and it's being released and manifest in the room. So you can sense that because it's coming from somebody in the pulpit, either that worship leader, that soloist, that preacher, that evangelist, that prophetess, whoever it is, because we are responsible for that mic. We got that mic in our hand. And when things are not right with us, then we release that into the atmosphere and into the church. And that's why we have to be right, sanctified, well, whole before we minister. And I know Carnel understands that, 100% when he works with his ministry.
Can you talk about that a little, Carnel, how we as leaders, we have to be prepared inwardly before we can really minister to anybody else? How can you relate to that and speak to that from a choir director, from a minister of music at your church, being prepared inwardly so your area of the music ministry can be effective to the body?
As the saying is, you lead by example. It has to be with you being the lead. If you're minister of music, with you being the leader, you have to be in a position where you're not leading people into wilderness, and you have to make sure that you are prepared spiritually, mentally, and physically. You have to make sure that you stay in tune with God, stay in tune with your pastor, whom you're serving, just be prepared. What I want to say? Be prepared, knowing what music is out right now. So just making sure that you just be prepared, and that you always keep things just going.
I'm gonna direct this next one to you, Carnel, and then I'm gonna come to Michael. How important is it to have an understanding of the vision of the house as it relates to your assignment?
You have to realize that when you're serving, it's not yours. And when I say it's not yours, like if you have a community choir, you have a church choir, the church choir is not yours. You want to make sure that you're always in tune with the pastor. And if he's preaching about faith, then your song should be, that's why it's always good to keep in contact, and stay in tune with the pastor, so that it's cohesive.
Michael, can you touch on that? How important is it to have relationship and an understanding of the visionary, the pastor, as it relates to your area of music ministry?
Well, Carnel is right. One of the things that I always say to people, and people must remember, the pastor is the minister of music. They're the chief worship leader in the house, even if they don't sing. So praise and worship and music cannot go any further than what music is in the life of the pastor. And so a lot of our singers and musicians get frustrated because they take positions because they need the money, and they never taken a time to speak with the pastor, examine the church, go by, sit in the back, check it out to see if it aligns with where your gift is and where your calling is. See, here's the problem. If praise and worship for the pastor is Dr. Watts, and then you sing in the prophetic and in the third heaven, you cannot go to that church because you're going to have you cannot take a position at that church because you're at a place where the pastor isn't. Okay. Or even in the reverse, the pastor is at a place where you're not. So you're automatically coming in and creating conflict because you both are not even in the same place spiritually as it relates to music. So too many of us singers, musicians, and dancers and leaders, ministers of music are taking positions for the check and have not analyzed, do me and this pastor line up? And then you don't stay there for 6 months. And then you
that long?
And then you in controversy, you in trouble, you in an issue, and now you on your 4th church in 2 years. But you wouldn't be had you did an examination, had you met with the pastor first. We know you need a dental plan, but that's not important if y'all not on the same page.
You just said something that is just so profound. When I am in that position, I want to know what he talked about at the end of the year and the first year. I want to know what the vision of this house is. Do I fit in here? Can I meet up where he is at? What is your Bible class like? You know, because often we find musicians, and I'm speaking to musicians, they completely zone out as soon as the pastor gets up to minister until he gets the key, if he get one. And when I see that leadership within all ministries must submit to the order set by the pastor, absolutely. This is one of the members of New Life, Michael. It is so important to understand where you're going in that church. If that is even if that's your assignment, is that where God wants you? Because it could be mix match, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about something else. I'm gonna get one more, and then I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna tie you up. I'm just so glad I got some strong forces in here tonight, some industry, and I've got church. I've got a good balance in here because you guys have literally done it all. When someone says, this is a controversial one here. Well, we don't need a choir anymore because we got a praise team.
Mm-hmm.
Is the church ushering out the choir for the praise team? What are you guys seeing out there? Because I know you guys see just as much as I do. And how can we find a balance with both? You want to take that, Carnel?
I'm seeing now that I'm seeing more church choirs starting to come back. Being in the pandemic, and that's all we really could have was a praise team. Because at first we was having everybody was singing in their own square, singing from your house. You couldn't come together. So then they brought the praise teams back, and that kind of seemed like that's where it is. But now people are understanding that they need that sound. You need that choir sound. Like I said earlier, you cannot get away from it. I don't care how hard you try. Praise teams and all of that's good. But there was a time we didn't have a praise team. But like I said, the era is changing, and you move with the times. But the choir ain't going nowhere. I'm sorry.
I'm going to go back and say we've always had a praise team. We just didn't call it a praise team. It was about 3 or 4 ladies in white. They got up and said, "Put your time in. Payday is coming after a while." We had a praise team.
Mm-hmm.
They just didn't call it a praise team. Michael, you want to take that on because you serve in a church where it's both.
Right.
And you have served in ministry like Valley Kingdom, strong worship, and they also have a choir. So can you speak to that? And then I'm going to take you guys way left, and then I'm going to let you go.
Well, I'm here as long as you need me, man. I'm good. I love talking and edifying people as much as I can. But Carnel is right. There's eras and different movements on different times and seasons. But if you go back and study the Davidic model and look at First Chronicles and Second Chronicles when the temple was being developed, there were 212 singers. There were 24 teams that sang around the clock. Those teams can be anything. There were 4,000 musicians. Of course, it's in reverse now. There's more singers than musicians. But the point is that you can never have too many teams in a department. Your teams can only be limited by the ability and the capacity and the bandwidth of the leader to be able to manage it. So you can have multiple teams. When I was at All Nations and the leader, I had 7 different praise teams that represented 7 different demographics. We didn't have a choir. New Life, we have a choir and a praise team. Valley Kingdom, we had of course, Shekinah Glory Ministry and the choir. Choirs are always going to be there. They're not going anywhere because we have different denominations and different levels of church and interpretations of church. There are some churches that are traditional. They don't even have a praise team. They have choirs, and then you have it in reverse, and then you have some in the middle. So choirs, like Carnel said, are not going anywhere. I think we're just in a movement and have been in a movement the past 20 years where the music changed, praise teams came up. And unfortunately, the church we chase fads. So when something is popular, we do that. And when choirs get back one time, the Winans came out, everybody wanted a boy band. Commission came out, Clark Sisters was out, everybody had a girl band. Back in the day, everybody had a community choir. Had Orlando Draper and Mark Hubbard.
Back in the day, wait a minute now. Let me speak to that. We had a certain number of community choirs. Yeah. Actually, it was a time before that we had a handful. Everybody was remember, there was a time when most of the recordings were from church choir, not a lot of community choir.
Right.
That boom came years later, and now it's 10 people organizing a choir in their front room right now, and they're gonna want to record next month. I'm gonna leave that alone because I want to talk about something else.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and then we even went through the era of ensembles. I mean, Rudolph Stanfield and Thomas Whitfield. We had an ensemble era. So it's just an era. And, now choirs, I'm glad, are on the comeback. But as Carnel said, they're not going anywhere.
So let's go here. Carnel, I'm going to let you dive at this one. We probably come from around the same generation. I'm going to just leave it right there. But do you guys, what is this with the musicians wearing hats in church? Is that important, or should that be not a non-factor and don't worry about it? There's nothing biblical that says you should or shouldn't. Or is it tradition and we should respect the church or the church policy? What is your take on that? And I'm going to leave you, Carnel, and then we'll go to Michael.
I'm not for hats during a service. Now, if I'm there for rehearsal or something like that, I normally wear a hat during rehearsal or something like that. But if it's a service, unless you're in costume, then I say no for the hats. Is it a problem? No. I mean, if somebody with a guy with a hat on in church, if that's deferring your worship, then you yeah. So I don't think nothing of it. I mean, just not something that I would do, but I have no problem with it.
Michael?
I have no issue with it at all. I mean, is it related to musicians or even membership? I don't have a problem with it at all. I think we need, in this day and age, if we're really being evangelists and trying to reach the world, we're going to have people come in looking all kind of ways. And then God will deal with them about their wardrobe. Now, if it's a work issue policy, then the musicians have to adhere to it, because a lot of these musicians, unfortunately, and I'm still one, don't know anything about what a job and protocol is supposed to be, because all they've done is done gigs and played. And so when they get into a structured environment, they don't know how to adhere, and they think that people are speaking against them when they're not. You need to learn how to follow protocol and procedures. So if your church says no hats, then you take your hat off and keep your hair combed and go get a line in. You'll be all right. You're not gonna die. But as far as it just being in the church in general, I have no problem with it. It doesn't offend me, because we need to be able to accept people however they come in.
Terry Moore, Salem Baptist Church, Chicago, said it depends on the church policy.
He's right.
I go with that. Leonard Appleton, why are musicians exempt from the established uniforms? That's a tough one.
Because nobody's enforcing it. If the band knows, if they're like Brother Perry said, Brother Weatherspoon, when you come in, know the policy. If on first Sundays you to be in a black suit, white shirt, black tie, then it is what it is. Nobody's enforcing it, or nobody's requesting it.
Bishop Mike Easton, okay, go ahead, finish.
Even with myself, for my community choir, there will be some engagements or some concerts I'll be like, okay, band, I need you in this uniform. But typically I'm not, not too hard on them. It's just the policy of where you at.
Right.
Bishop Michael Easton, Fellowship Baptist Church, long time, one of the best drummers that you can find that's walking the earth. He said it depends on the church policy. Me, myself, I've always taken off my hat when I'm in church. That's just my upbringing. And that plays a piece too. He comes from fellowship. What was he going to do?
Right.
Come in somebody's church with a hat on? Because he didn't do that under Reverend Evans and no one else. So he's not going to do that anyplace else. So sometimes it's where you come from in the generation. Now I'm getting ready to go to my last topic. I'm going to mess with you all and see how you feel about it.
Got it.
God bless you, Kenneth Marsh. He's out from the Baltimore area, out there where you are, Carnel. He's been a guest on my show. God bless you. He's got something coming up we'll be talking about in the coming weeks. Okay, did Beyonce do something wrong when she sampled Twinkie Clark's song and added the salacious lyrics and talked about church girl? Did she do something wrong there? Is that okay? Or should we just not be fazed about it? Or it is what it is? Michael, let's talk about that.
No, she didn't do anything wrong, in my opinion. As I mentioned to you earlier, I've studied writing and creative writing and comparative literature and different things like that. When you are a real lyricist, and Carnel knows this, when you spend time in lyrics, whether it's songs, compositions, there's irony, there's comparison, there's contrast. And you need to look at what the content of what someone is maybe trying to say, as opposed to just looking at it. You got to pull the blanket back and take a look at it. You know, I examine those lyrics, and there's several things that I heard her saying. And listen, she could be talking about a stripper that's working that night, that's in the church, but gotta work and taking some money. I saw some things even in there where she's listen. Can we? Is this an honest conversation?
Come on, we real here. We real.
Listen, unfortunately, and for a lot of people, I wasn't a virgin when I got married. There's a lot of things that the road taught me. I wasn't a virgin when I got married. And listen, there's a lot of freaks in church. All right. Listen, it ain't we jumping and shouting, but everybody ain't living what we saying. All right. So in looking at that lyrics, some of that even was, listen, church girls acting loose, bad girls acting snotty. Come on now. I mean, listen, so we got to be real. There were things that she was saying, good girls acting bad, church girls don't. There's things that she was saying that we have to look at the lyrics. She wasn't lying. But in the men, we a lot of us got a problem too. So she wasn't lying, Ramon. But I looked at it. I looked at it for the lyrical content of what she may have been trying to say. And it did not bother me that she sampled it because the church folks is listening to secular music anyway.
Carvel Shaw was here in Chicago, Illinois, said, "Where is the lie?" Carnel Davis, your take on this?
I feel like my brother feels. I have no problem with it, and because in gospel we're covering R&B songs.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky and New G, who can I run to? You got Donna Lawrence doing Through the Fire. I mean, it's music is music and lyric is lyric. And the fact that she did that, and this lady is now really going to start collecting what she should have been collecting. The wealth of the wicked is okay. Let me not go there.
Okay, so let me play the advocate. I'm not gonna play the devil's advocate, but I'm gonna play the advocate. Okay. While what you're saying is true, we have always traded music. I mean, that's not a secret. Jesus is the best thing that ever happened. You're right, Gladys Knight. However, the lyrics were conducive to what can be done in a morning service. The lyrics was changed. Yes, New G did. Who can I? To me, that should have been the original. What you guys did. Who can I run to? The same arrangement. And who did it for? What was it? The Jones Girls or
the Jones Girls?
Right. Okay, so y'all know I like it all. I listen to everything. So I'm not having an issue with that. But let's just say what she did, we can't sing that version in the church, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah,
and
she-
so
oh,
the
you
other
could.
examples that you're giving, the lyrics was changed where it was for the church. And we have secular artists that sing gospel songs on the road, right? Fantasia does it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But this one can't be done. So if that's okay, is it okay? Can she sing that because it's true and because there's some truth? Should she be able to come and sing that in its authentic form in someone's church? And will we be okay with that?
Beyonce's not a gospel artist.
Oh no, but neither's Fantasia.
Right.
Neither's Fantasia.
Beyonce's not leading worship
No,
with somebody.
that's the difference.
Neither.
That's the
Oh,
difference.
what is the difference?
The difference is Fantasia is she's a PK. She's from the church. It's in her. Versus Beyonce. I mean, yeah, no.
Patti LaBelle can come sing
Not
at the
from
church.
I mean,
Mariah Carey can come and sing in the church. Hello.
Hey, Ramon, can I say something? We have to stop this self-righteousness for a moment.
No,
I mean,
no,
not
Michael,
you.
I'm being the
No, not you. Not you.
I'm asking the questions that I did this with Pastor Thurston the other week,
Right.
and he brought it. He said he just brought it raw. These are the questions that people say to me that I'm asking. You know what I mean?
I'm not coming at you and Carnel.
I know.
You know what I'm saying
No.
is we have to. One of the things I tell people all the time, we have to stop assuming that because you're a gospel artist that you live in a nickel's worth of anything, and we have to stop assuming that because you're a secular artist that you don't have a relationship with God. A lot of these secular artists know more about God than these people that's leading worship at four, five times a month at the local church. We have to stop assuming that. Now, I think that she just took a song, yes, for commercial purposes, of course, but she took a song and made an analogy about church girls from several different levels if you look at the lyrics and analyze them. Telling them not to judge. Go ahead.
Is it only, and it's only like a phrase of Twinkie's song anyway. It's not even
One line.
It's just one line.
Just one line.
It's an uproar over one line, which is the foundation. It's really not the song.
It's not, but we have made it that because of what song it happens to be and who it comes from. So I'm with you guys on this. My position is she, in some ways, may have told the truth, her truth, or some other people's truth, and it's not all church girls, but it could be some. You know what I mean? So I literally don't have that issue with it as much as I have an issue with the people that are making it a big issue.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why I was.
And we have to stop, Ramon. Like I said earlier, church folks have to stop acting like they don't listen to secular music. You got to stop. You got to stop presenting that fallacy. All right. That we are listening to secular music. Now, we may not be putting it on our Facebook page and our IG page because we got to present a certain image, but we know what's going on in the world of music.
Absolutely. This, and I'm going to go. When I go to, and I posted, I have no shame whatsoever. I know you guys are probably familiar with the guy named Frank Malcom. Have you heard of him? Mm-hmm. He's a jazz kind of R&B. He sounds so much like Donnie Hathaway. When I go to these concerts that are secular at the City Winery, half the church musicians are in the concerts. So that speaks truth to what you are saying. I went to the concert and I seen some church musicians playing for the secular artists. So we have always had this exchange. That is not a new thing, right?
It's not a new thing. And, you know, what I tell musicians and singers, and Carnel, you can add on this, please. Music is an evangelistic tool. That's one of the characteristics of music. And how can we be a light in the dark if we're not where darkness is? And so we are going to need some mature musicians and singers to go out and sing in places and be that light. Conduct Bible study on the road. Be a musician and play with some of these secular artists, and they see you not smoking weed, not getting drunk, not womanizing, not messing around, not getting into things you shouldn't be getting into. You know, if they can see that, then maybe that'll draw somebody to God. Or if we can be that way with the gospel artists that we play with, because we need to stop assuming that just because we're doing praise and worship and lifting our hands, that we are living worth anything. We have to stop assuming that. So we need to be a light, even in the church, even at the choir rehearsal, even at the band rehearsal, even when we out with our choir members and our praise team members. They need to see something about us that could draw them closer to Christ.
Absolutely. Carnel, I'll give you the last word before we sign off. Anything you want to add to that?
No, really. My brother said it all.
He said it all.
Yeah.
And Brother James Williams says she told her truth. Listen, I want to thank Malcom Simmons for sharing with us earlier. Please go and download I Win and his other single, God is Great. Please support Brother Carnel Davis, Lily of the Valley.
Yeah.
That's a Sunday morning crank. Make me better. Your church choir needs to be singing that in the next 2 weeks. Please do that. And I want you to support our giant here in the city of Chicago, pastor of music and arts, Michael Weatherspoon. He has 2 publications out. Can you name those publications and how we can secure them again?
The Cost of Indecision and Notes to a Leader on my website, michaelweatherspoon.com.
Michael, and spell your name. I want to make sure everybody get that.
Michael, Weatherspoon, WEATHERSPOON.
When you get an opportunity, Michael, can you go back into the comments and type that, and we can secure your music, Carnel, on all digital outlets. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Doing a great job over there in the East Coast, singing with Incorporated to Praise. We're proud of you, and we're glad to have you on Ramon Perry and WVTC Stellar Award winning Internet Radio Station of the Year. Listen, God bless you, beloved. I've got to go. I want to again thank all of my guests and all of you guys that supported this great night of ministry, because these guys shared in ministry tonight. And we'll be back with you next week, the Lord willing, at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Remember, it is according to your faith, so be it unto you. You can get what you need. It's all according to your faith. God bless you. God keep you. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC.